Welcome to the recorded workshop session for the Business Management Distance module.
Now, in any organization, control is very important, and all of us, control, though it exists, we also resist. I also resist to control. Controlling to me gives me another nature. It produces and gives another nature in me which doesn't want to be controlled. But it is very important to implement and to ensure that all organization, even as a manager, that you are in control of what is happening. Now, control is linked with planning. There's no way you can separate those two things, those things. It is also linked with all other functions of management. It is linked to the other functions of management. Which are organizing, leading, and planning. So they are all linked, right? It helps. Control enables the company to adapt to the environmental changes. It limits error. It also enables so basically, when you are looking at controlling, the question is, what is it that you are controlling? What is important to note is that controlling is linked to all the other three functions of management. What will you be doing in controlling? It also enables companies to adapt to the environment that is changing. Remember, sometimes we sit down, we plan and say we want to achieve this by the end of the year. But things happen in the environment. There is loss, there is a change in one of the government laws, regulatory laws, and then what do? We need to change. Hence, control comes in. It also limits error. We are human beings. We are also bound to make mistakes. But then what happens when mistakes do happen? So when we have control, it in a way, it also leaves minimum room for error to take place. It also enables the company to cope up with complexity and the expansion. There are companies that are multinational, meaning that they are cut across the world. Imagine such type of company like Anglo-American. Think of Coca-Cola. You find it everywhere else in the world, even the poorest of the poorest country. You go there, ask about Coca-Cola. Everyone knows about it. So imagine how such a big company like Coca-Cola is running. It's running and it's so effective in their controlling system. Otherwise, before you know it, somebody would have taken over your company. It also minimizes costs that comes up with error, costs that comes up with not being able to control what is happening around you. Now, the control process is also something that is very important, and you need to be familiar with it. There are basically 4 steps. And these steps would include step number 1, you need to establish the goals. Establish standards. So basically, these are the 4 steps for the control process. Number 1, you need to establish standards, and you are going to tell yourself what is it that we are going to say. If we see that thing happening and taking place, we know this is what we are expecting. You need to come up with a standard of performance. And where do you get that? You get it from the goals, because this is what you want to achieve. The goals, like the same example that I've been using from the time we started, is you want to do your BBA. So that is your goal. But what is the standard? The standard is passing, obviously. So what is it that you check that you have done very well, right? You measure actual performance. When you are measuring actual performance, you are saying, of the 6 modules that I was supposed to write in the first year, how many did I pass? I only passed 3. But how many was I supposed to pass? I was supposed to pass 6. So you are actually measuring. So evaluate deviations. What made me to fail the other 3 modules? Well, maybe because I didn't give myself enough time to do this I didn't give attention. And then what do you do in the next cycle? You rectify those deviations, so that at the end of the day, you are able to meet and reach your goal. That's, in simple terms, what is involved in the control process. Now, when you do that, even in any company, say it is a business thing, this is not individual, you need to look at, as you are setting established standards, what are your profit standards? When can you say you have made a profit? What is your market share standards? What is it that you have reached? Productivity. Have you managed to produce what met the production for the day? Because remember, other manufacturing companies, they operate on targets. If you fail to reach your daily targets, you have a problem. So staff development standards, all those are examples of establishing what? Standards. How do you measure it? You look at the activities that are quantifiable before any comparisons can be made. That is what you need to look at. The very moment you see the word measure, you are looking for quantity, something that is quantifiable, something that can be measured. You need to look at the reports that are accurate and come up with the right amount of information that you require for you to be able to make that. When you are evaluating deviations, a deviation is a movement from the expected, a movement not in line with the expected, and then you are able to rectify. To rectify is to correct. Now, having looked at that as a process, the controlling process, you also need to look at types of controls. We have different types of controls that we have. Some work depending, they work well depending with your organization, but some they don't. But we also have issues when you're looking at the types of control. We have physical resources. Now, when you're looking at physical resources, we refer to aspects as inventory, right? In any organization, we have assets, we have gadgets, equipment, materials that we are using every day. Now, what then happens is those things, they really need to be checked on. You need to see if you are using a certain gadget, is it working properly, right? If it has to be serviced, if people are using it, and it has to be serviced after a certain period of time so that you avoid injury, you also check, has it been done? Those are some of the examples of physical controls that you can actually put. You can talk of inventory. When you are talking of inventory, you are talking of stock. If you are using certain raw materials to manufacture certain products, you need to make sure that you have enough all the time. And you need to control the flow. Who is getting those equipment, raw materials? Who is supposed to sign for them? Who is not supposed to sign for them? Who is the custodian of those raw materials? Another aspect is human resources needs to be controlled. This involves the selection, recruitment, placement of employees, control over training and personal development. performance appraisals, performance remuneration levels, and the like. Because if you don't control such things, you discover there are things that are funny that happens. You might end up paying people that are not supposed to be on the payroll. You might end up paying people who are not rightly qualified. You also need to control information resource. That's the other thing. Information needs to be controlled. Information resource. The information resource would act as the company secrets. Company secrets, the things that are making the company to what? To move. We have issues like the example that I've used for Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola has got its own secret recipe as to say what are the combinations of the ingredients that they use to manufacture Coca-Cola. And so many years over time, many companies have tried to copy them, but they have failed to come up with the same taste. So it means that companies controlling the information as to the secret of the company. Like even if today you have to go to buy a burger from Steers or McDonald's, they have what they call our secret sauce. This is what would distinguish a burger from Steers and a burger from that of McDonald's. Another aspect that needs to be controlled is finance resource. Financial resource. Right, money. If it is not controlled, people are going to steal from the company. People are going to blow out their budget. People are going to misuse the monies. Hence, there is need to control. So systems of controlling these aspects needs to be put in place. Physical resources, even a security company can be hired and be checked on, and then it continues and it goes on like that. Those are the types of controls that an organization will have. But for us to look at a system that we can say this is the characteristics of an effective control system. An effective control system should an effective control system should be easily integrated. There should be integration. It should be flexible. It should be accurate. Timeliness. Simplicity. Now, if you are to set up a control system in an organization, these are the characteristics of an effective control system. It should be easily integrated with other systems in the organizations. For it to be accurate, for it to be approved, it should be easily integrated, meaning that it should be easily used with other systems that are used, systems of planning, systems of organizing, a system of even planning. Okay, I've talked of planning, organizing, and even as a system that should be used as an objective of measuring what is happening within an organization. It should be flexible, as in it should be able to accommodate change if it comes. It should be accurate, meaning that the system should have the ability to give you results that are as exact as possible. Otherwise, you end up giving and feeding wrong information into the system and reporting wrong things. Timeliness, meaning that the control data should be supplied regularly as needed and not obtained by means of hasty makeshifts. Another aspect should be simple. Simplicity control. This system should be it should not be complex, that the implementation becomes more expensive than the benefits that we get from it. Right, so those are the characteristics. Make sure that it's to make sure that you know it. If I were you, things like that, you can come up with an acronym as to say ISFAT. right? Meaning that an effective control system, you can come up with an acronym saying that I standing for integration, simplicity, flexibility, accountability, accurate, and also timeliness, depending with what is simple to you. But actually, the use of acronyms in these subjects is very important. Otherwise, it is difficult for you to understand and also capture everything. So this is it with organizing. And apparently, this comes to the end of the syllabus, what we are expected to cover for this module this semester. Now, like I said, that the time is coming and you're about to write. So what is important is that we keep in touch, make sure that you participate in the forums, make sure that you participate, the questions that you ask are actually answered. You are also not studying on your own. Another thing is you can also organize private groups on your own. Contact each other by emails. I'm sure you now have contact numbers for each and everyone. If you don't have, I'll be able to supply. Talk to other students. See if you can meet and discuss some of the issues that is in the quest of trying to prepare for your examination. Otherwise, for any further questions that you might want elaboration and questions to be answered, I've given you my details previously. You are still welcome. Please contact me by email and we can still continue and see that we are better prepared for our examination. Otherwise, I'll say good luck in your preparation till we meet next time. Thank you.